Thank you, co-chairs, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to present the report on the activities of the IRM for the period 1st February to 30th June. Since the report has been circulated to the board, I will confine myself to some highlights. The two overarching goals from the 2020 work plan was firstly the operating of the IRM and secondly the processing of complaints and requests. Both of these overarching goals were impacted by COVID-19. Let me highlight some of these COVID-19 impacts and draw some lessons learned. Firstly, the relocation of staff. The 3 staff members of the IRM, 2 interns and a short-term consultant, relocated to their countries in February. Since then, 2 staff members and an intern have recommenced working at the G Tower in Songdo. I myself plan to return to Songdo as soon as it is safe enough to do so. And 1 intern and a short-term consultant will complete their contracts in October working from their countries. With regard to capacity building and outreach, these are activities that involve bringing together of participants and providing with them with the training and workshop. However, we have had to transform these activities and we are now decided to deliver them through virtual platforms. The case management system, which the board funded in 2018 and 19, came in very useful as this electronic system allowed us to process all the complaints that were received during this period quite effectively. The big lesson learned is that we realized that some of our work can be converted and transformed and delivered through virtual platforms. This has also enabled us to save some travel miles and also reduce our carbon footprint. Let me highlight a few more details with regard to the outputs produced by the IRM during this period. Firstly, the board mandated the IRM together with the Ethics and Audit Committee to produce a set of guidelines for use by the board when it considers case reports from the IRM. And I'm happy to note that we have done so and plan to present them to the board at B27. The IRM has also issued its supporting operating procedures in February, consisting of 20 modules. With regard to our virtual outreach activities, which I mentioned in the previous slide, we've completed the activity in the Pacific region very successfully, involving a number of civil society organizations from a number of Pacific countries. With regard to the capacity building program, which we are delivering through a virtual platform now, we've just completed one for the Latin American region, again quite successfully, and plan to do so for Africa and Asia and the Pacific in September and October. We have also produced our very first advisory report on the prevention of sexual exploitation, abuse, and harassment in projects and programs of the GCF. This is available to you in the form of an information document together with the Secretariat's management response. And finally, we have produced a number of communications materials in the form of videos and brochures, and the brochures are now available in more than 10 different languages on our website. Let me now turn to complaints and requests. The IRM received 2 complaints during the period under review. FP043, a case from Morocco, we declared eligible and it is now in problem solving. And FP084 in India, we had to declare that complaint ineligible and we have closed that case. We also received 4 pre-cases. A pre-case is a communication from third parties which could become a complaint at a future date, and we are processing those. Finally, the self-initiated inquiry, which was started last year with regard to FP001, the board might recall that the Secretariat provided 4 undertakings with regard to improving that project. 3 of these undertakings have been completed, and we are waiting for the last one to be completed, and we are monitoring it and will report to the board accordingly. Let me turn to the budget utilization of the IRM as at 30th June 2020. You would note from this table that the IRM has utilized 32% of our budget at mid-year point. This represents underutilization. This is not typical of the IRM because we've had a good record of utilization ranging from 85 to 90% annually in the past years. However, this year, because of the impact of COVID-19, you would note that we've had an underutilization of our travel budget and also an underutilization of other operating costs, which were really allocated for the conducting of workshops and training programs by bringing participants together. We expect, however, that by the end of this year, we would have a budget utilization of 65 to 70%. That brings me to the end of my presentation. I would be happy to respond to any questions or clarifications that members of the board may have. Thank you to the members of the board for your patient hearing. Thank you, co-chairs.